My whole thing is developing applicable skills, not measuring isolated performance. One of the things that's getting talked a lot about in the industry right now is kind of the value of metrics. We're seeing people who are relatively new in the training industry saying, you know what, maybe timer drills aren't what it should be all about. We're seeing people who have been in the industry for a long time changing their mind about it, and we're starting to get a lot more interaction. I've been working at Personal Defense Network. I've been working a lot with Rob Latham, the most accomplished professional shooter in our generation. For the last 30 years, he's been winning championships. He just won a national championship in August. He did pretty well at the Nationals a couple days ago down in Florida. And we do a lot of videos talking about the differences, huge differences between competition stuff and defensive training stuff. And the main difference is the addition of the cognitive processing, right? The need to process information immediately prior to or congruently with the execution of your complex motor skills, which you don't do in competition. So if you're familiar with drills like the El Presidente or the fast drill or some of these things, you know exactly what you're going to do. You get your stage briefing, you think about your process, you stand by, shooter ready, a buzzer goes off, and then you execute this choreographed set of skills without any processing of information, without any regard for the target surrender, the target moves, a bystander comes in front of you, your gun hits slide lock when you weren't expecting it to because you're not counting your rounds in a real fight. So what we stress in our programs is the need to process information. If we're in the morning session, the way we did that was, and if you're in the afternoon session, you'll see it, our fundamental information processing drill is called a balance of speed and precision drill. The balance of speed and precision drill has more than one type of command that requires you to do more than one thing. The simplest version is some of the shots are unsighted, multiple shot string of fire, 12 to 15 feet at the chest, unsighted kinesthetically aligned shooting, or a headshot on one of 6 numbered circles. Call out a number, call out a color, call out a location on the target. You hear that command, you realize that means you need a headshot. Just like if George jumps up and puts his finger knife to my throat, like here, be a better bad guy. What do you want to do? Get behind him. With a knife, yeah. So now, if you're going to shoot him, I want you to use your sights, right? Well, not really. But if I go, hi-ya, and run away, now you can just shoot him in the chest a lot. And those are 2 very different things, right? I'm probably not going to go hi-ya because then he's going to know it's coming, right? But other than that was very realistic. Processing, whether you need to do a headshot or sighted fire, unsighted fire, all that is what we talk about applying your skills. So when you see some of this stuff, if you follow social media, you read the blogs, you read the articles, and you read the magazines or wherever you're reading them these days, watching training videos, YouTube, whatever, Personal Defense Network, when you see us talking about metrics versus subjective evaluations of one's ability to process information and apply skills appropriately, that's what we're talking about. All we're talking about is putting variability, putting chaos into your training, but in a safe way. So you work with a training partner, or back in the old days, we say get an MP3 player, give yourself a bunch of commands that would apply to your target, do them with a 5-second delay. So you're going to say left, right, green, 1, 2, yellow, whatever your strings of commands are that match your targets. Put them into a playlist and hit random, hit shuffle play. And you're going to put the earbuds in under your muffs, you're out on the range, and you're randomizing what it is you're having to deal with. Download your magazines, put 40 to 70% into each magazine. You start not predicting reloads as often, you're really responding to slide lock. How many of you guys have seen really good gun handlers in a stage or in a choreographed drill drive a gun out, get a click, and just stop? And just look at their gun. But you know, if you put dummy rounds in their gun and you said, hey, there's some dummy rounds in there, when you hit a click, tap and rack, they would have aced it, right? Because they're anticipating it. But when it really happens, they kind of freeze. That's the difference between training to isolated performance and training to application. And that means tying together a stimulus-response pattern. So the stimulus is the click, the response pattern is the tap and rack. So if you minimize the number of times you click, I told a guy earlier in the class, he dry fired his gun before loading. I don't know why, right? That's his range habit. He's been somewhere in his pattern of gun handling. When he went to make ready, he had an unloaded gun, he pulled the trigger at the ground, and then put a loaded magazine in. I don't know why, but that was clearly his habit. But that habit undoes the stimulus response pattern of click means tap right. Right? In an administrative setting, like a Glock or something where you have to pull the trigger to take the gun down, you've just cleared the gun, right? You're going through an administrative process to clear the gun, and you're not in a situation where you're driving the gun out, simulating a shot. When you're driving that gun out and you get a click, you should always be tapping and racking. That's going to tie that stimulus response pattern together. Questions about any of that? Go.